Sorry, the last episode I got cut off there at the end. But the other episode I wanted to do for today is about not getting lost in who you are when there's so many opinions, there's so many experts, and a lot of the stuff is really good. And I'm in some really great groups with some awesome people. And just because they're great groups with awesome people and a lot of them are successful doesn't mean that it's the best advice for me. And not every trader is going to be the same as you. Not every person is going to do things the same way. And sometimes it's hard to know even where you're at or what your own voice means because you're so used to listening to so many podcasts and reading so many books and hearing so many people have opinions, which is awesome because you have access to all that, but it can fill up your brain to the point where you don't know who you are. And an example of that would be getting up really in the morning. I read The Miracle Morning, and you hear this advice, and that successful people, they get up early and they get everything done before everyone else does, and that's why they're successful. And I think that is really good advice, and it's probably true for most people, but it's not true for me. And since I was a little kid, I've always struggled in the mornings, and I've needed a lot of sleep, and I get a lot more done later on in the day. I'm not really good at exercising or getting a bunch done in the morning. I waste some time in the morning. I read and I fuddle around and I do stuff that's sometimes enjoyable and sometimes it's just me getting a slow start to the day, and I really get focused later on. And that's not ideal, and I'm sure I could work on that, but I noticed that that's how I've always been, and it works for me because I've built a system around that. There's not just one way to do things, and sometimes there could be a great way to trade stocks or to trade futures or anything like that. And you might be able to pluck a few things from that system from somebody else that really fit what you want to do. Maybe you're a part-time trader and you only have a few hours a day. Maybe you are not a patient person and you're a more impulsive person. So there's strategies that can fit that and you can do well within that. There's always some, it's like, I think it's like parenting, which I will be doing here soon. We don't have our kid yet, but I'll be getting into that world. And from talking to my friends, it's very similar where there's a whole bunch of different reasons that you should do things a certain way, but sometimes for your family or for your kid, it doesn't quite work that way. Even though there's best practices, there's going to be your practices. And it's really important to understand and to believe in what you're doing, have confidence in what you're doing. Otherwise, everything's overcomplicated and you start to go nuts in your own head. And I'm guilty of that as well, because I'm always trying to learn and pick up something, but sometimes I already have what I need to some extent, and it can be noise. So it's really important to understand that. And sometimes if you're early in the process, you might still be discovering who you are, and that's fine to take that information in, but remember that you have the tools in you to do it the way that's best for you, and you're just trying to figure that out, and someone else is never going to give you that, even though they can help you get there.